Universal Civil Code cannot work for a nation like India. Before we get into the debate on whether or not we should implement UCC, we need to understand why it won't even work. And hey, homes, welcome back to another short conversation on a social issue. In this regard, this conversation is inspired by my interaction with the filmmaker Girish Krishabali, whom I met at a documentary film festival in September 2024, which was organized by Film Society of Bhubaneswar in Bhubaneswar. Since he is a lot more learned than I am, and I completely agree with his opinion on this topic, I'll just reiterate what his opinion was. And it's pretty simple to understand, to be honest. If you look into the nations where their version of UCC has worked successfully, and when I mean successfully, I don't mean implemented by force, I mean implemented with the social acceptance without oppressing any part of the society, you'll find that those nations are pretty small and are based on one single core ethnicity, which is not the case for a large diverse nation like India. Let's take an example and compare. A nation where a unified single monolithic law that works well is Switzerland. And if we compare that to India, Switzerland is much smaller than India, which is pretty obvious. But more important to that, Switzerland is a monoethnic nation, mostly. The Swiss identity is not just a national identity in 99% of the cases, it's also an ethnic identity. Compared to India, India, being an Indian is a national identity, but it's not an ethnic identity. India is filled with a large number of diverse ethnicities, which are very different from each other. An easier example of within that example is look at the language. Swiss is a language itself. But Indian is not a language. Indian describes a large group of languages where it is very common for most Indians to not understand most Indian languages. Hence, while something of sort of UCC can work for some nations, it cannot work for a diverse large nation like India. In this case, trying to implement UCC is not giving equality to everyone, it's enforcing a dominant culture onto everyone else, which is not just trying to homogenize multiple diverse cultures, it's also oppressing anyone who is different from that dominant culture. So if you don't like typing long messages, just send this to a send friend.